The Disney Gondola System, known as the Skyliner, will be here before you know it, and I'm really looking forward to riding it and being able to take some really cool pictures from above. Once the gondola is done and a lot of people are using it on a day-to-day basis, and maybe everyone loves it and Disney's seeing a lot of guests use it, is there a possibility that Disney may expand the system with a Phase 2 or maybe even Phase 3 of the gondola construction to bring more Disney parks and resorts into the gondola system? It is a very good question. There's been rumors for years about how we can connect different parks and different resorts, and this may be Disney's solution, but I'm not sure Disney is even 100% sure themselves until they see how this system does. The current path of the Disney Gondola System will take it from Epcot to the Riviera Resort, which is almost done by the way, and then it will make its way to the Caribbean Beach Resort. The Caribbean Beach Resort will be kind of a hub for the gondola system where guests will be able to choose if they want to go to Hollywood Studios to the west or go south to Pop Century and Art of Animation. Once it's complete, it's going to give guests who are staying at Pop Century, Art of Animation, the Riviera Resort, and the Caribbean Beach Resort much easier access to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. Before the gondola stations are even halfway complete, there are many friends who have told me they're really hesitant about this new system because they're afraid of heights or they're afraid of the back and forth with the wind, and I can totally understand that, but I 100% trust Disney with my safety, and I will be getting on the gondola system without any hesitation. My hope is that when I have the opportunity to ride the gondola and share it with you here in the vlog, you'll get a better sense and feel if maybe the gondolas aren't as scary as they might seem, or maybe you're saying to yourself, it's never gonna happen, Michael, and I understand it. But considering that safety is their #1 priority when it comes to the gondolas, what is the next thing that Disney is thinking about if they're considering a possible expansion? Now, if I was in charge of the decision at Disney to figure out if expanding the gondola system to other areas of Walt Disney World is a right decision, I would base it on a few different factors. #1 is obviously safety, but the second thing that comes to mind is making sure that guests are comfortable on the gondola system, and the very first thing that comes to mind for me is heat and humidity. Now, we already know that the gondola system was originally not supposed to come with air conditioning, and I say originally because I keep thinking to myself, is Disney going to change that decision? Maybe they will add air conditioning. I mean, I'm no engineer when it comes to gondola systems and figuring out how guests are extra comfortable inside, but when you think about those vents, you know, they're going to have vents at the top where air can flow through, and it's a good idea, it sounds smart. Is that air going to be able to cool guests enough so it's not like baking inside? If I had to guess, Disney knows the Florida weather pretty well and has already thought of this and probably gone through so many tests already to make sure that guests are really comfortable inside the car. So I'd have to imagine that it's going to be very nice. As much as I imagine it's going to be really nice and comfortable and great, and Disney has thought this through and they probably have, I keep coming back to the thought of standing or sitting in a gondola car and you know, it's hot outside, but there's air blowing in, maybe it's nice cool air, but maybe some days the air is like sticky and humid, you know how that is, and it's like coming at you, and that's almost worse than not having any air, when it's like hot, humid, sticky air. So to me, it's like, all right, so how are we gonna solve this problem? I'm not sure, I really don't know, so I'm looking forward to seeing the solution that Disney has to that. One thing that I think of when I think about the hot and humid summers in Florida is the fact that in the buses at Walt Disney World, I love it when you walk in after it's like 100 degrees outside, you walk in the bus and it's like freezing cold air conditioning. It is the best feeling, it really is. You probably know this feeling, you probably do, but it is amazing. I love that feeling, and I really wish they'd have that in the gondola as well. I think that'd be perfect on a hot day, but it's not going to be air conditioned, it's just going to be a flowing of wind, so we'll see how it turns out. Now, I can tell you all about some of my concerns about the heat in those gondola cars, but keep in mind, Disney knows this better than anyone. They know the danger of heat throughout the year, and it's never Disney's fault. There are guests who suffer from heat-related injuries. It happens. That's how it works. And Disney wants to try and mitigate this any way they can. Honestly, they really want to go above and beyond to make sure they keep guests comfortable. It's part of the reason why the buses are so cold, not because they're less expensive to run the air conditioning on full blast in 100-degree weather, but to keep the guests comfortable and happy. So they're keeping that in mind the whole time. So we know that Disney really wants to make sure that guests are comfortable, and they probably have a strategy to beat the heat with these gondola cars, whether it's the vents in a certain way, or maybe there's some kind of screen over the windows where we can see out, but sunlight has a tough time getting in, just ideas. So they're thinking this through, they know what they're going to do, and I'm sure we'll be happily surprised. Now, if I was a Disney executive and I was deciding if we should expand the Skyliner system, another factor that I'd really want to consider is reliability. Now, you know Disney keeps very careful records of how frequently the Disney buses, the boats, even the monorail and the rides break down at Walt Disney Disney World, and they consider those factors when thinking about the future. And we all understand the importance of not wanting to be stuck on a monorail or a bus or a gondola anywhere at Walt Disney World. We want to keep on going, get to the destination, and enjoy the magic. So the more reliable a form of transportation is, the better. But a friend of mine brought something interesting to my attention. He said, "Michael, if a bus breaks down at Walt Disney World, everyone can get off the bus and get on a different bus. Easy peasy. If a monorail breaks down at Walt Disney World, they can usually push the monorail, back into the station, or if needed, they can evacuate all of the guests from the monorail with one of those cherry picker, trucks to bring the guests down. What happens if the gondola breaks down?" I think I may have tapped into a certain fear that a couple of our friends may have about the gondola system, and there is no shame in that. But I have good news for you. You may remember a couple of years ago, there were some guests that had to be evacuated from a monorail using a cherry picker, one of those trucks that goes all the way up, grabs the guests, and brings them down to ground level. And you might be thinking, Michael, is that how they evacuate people from a gondola? Well, a gondola is even easier, because all it is a huge steel cable pulled with a motor or generator. If the motor goes down, all they have to do is turn on another motor or another generator and turn the wheel and bring the guests down with the gondola. The wire doesn't go down, nothing bad happens. They just pull the guests on down and off they go to enjoy their day. So it's much, much easier to get that system up and running if something was to happen. Now, when I say all they have to do is pull on that cable and the gondolas come right in, I'm not talking about a group of people pulling on the cable, obviously. I'm talking about a generator, a super large generator that's able to, they're able to start it up if anything happens, a backup, and then that system's able to turn the motor, and pulling tons of weight of the gondolas into the station, guests can get off, and then they can repair the system if they need to. It's much easier, and to me it sounds really safe. I actually have a feeling that's why Disney is so excited about this system. Think about it, it could basically be a transportation system with zero downtime. If that main generator isn't working, they can turn on the backup, and then that main one can be repaired, or maybe at night they can repair it. They can have two generators ready to go at all times, and one is always in standby. That way they are always moving and nothing bad can happen. It makes a lot of sense, and I have a feeling that's what Disney's thinking about too. But wait a second, before you get too excited about a Disney transportation system with basically no downtime, historically there are two factors that can make the gondola system stop in most gondolas all around the world, and that's high winds and lightning, and unfortunately, Orlando has both of those. Not only is Florida the Sunshine State, but it's also the lightning state. Last year alone, there were over 1.4 million lightning strikes in Florida, so it's on Disney's minds. But like everything at Disney, they're usually 2 steps ahead, and I have a feeling they already know about this, and they probably have it planned where they can kind of close down the monorail for maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, and then they can reopen it right away. I have a feeling they know the storms so well because they're very consistent. In Florida, they come around, it storms, and then it's gone. It's very, very quick. So maybe it's down for an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, and the gondola system is back up. And they almost have that every single day. So everybody kind of gets used to it being down between maybe 12, maybe 2 o'clock, somewhere in there. It rains, it storms over, off we go again. Beautiful weather in the gondola. It makes a lot of sense. The next factor that I would consider if I'm one of these Disney executives making a decision about the gondola expansion is how easy it is for children and those with disabilities and ECVs to get into the gondola cars. I have a feeling Disney's going to solve this very, very easily with one simple solution. When the gondola is in the station, it's going to move so slowly that even someone with a severe disability or in a wheelchair or in their own ECV, or if you have young children, it will be very simple to get on board. Disney's going to really go above and beyond when it comes to making sure that guests are safe in these cars. By the way, I was thinking about what might make these cars even more magical, and that's the idea of somehow adding Disney music to them. I really hope they can somehow pipe in the music into the gondola car. Some kind of area music. I think it would be amazing. Please, Disney, bring us the music. Now, considering all of these factors, many guests, including myself, may end up loving the gondola system so much that we want to choose those resorts that have the gondola system with them, so that it just makes it so much easier and convenient to get to those resorts. It makes so much sense, and I really hope that I love it as much as I think I may. If that ends up being the case and the gondola system is a huge success, Disney may consider expanding the system to other areas of Walt Disney World. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's say after years of testing and guests really love the gondola system, it's really working well for everyone, and Disney wants to expand the system to other parts of Walt Disney World. Where do I think that the new system may go? Now, I'm not sure if you remember, but years ago there were extremely strong rumors that the monorail system would be expanded to include Disney Springs. To me, that would be a dream come true, but we know that is very, very unlikely to happen at this point, so why not the gondola? If we take a closer look at the map, it makes so much sense. Guests staying at Pop Century, Art of Animation, the Caribbean Beach Resort, the Riviera Resort, Boardwalk, Yacht Club, and Beach Club, access to Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Disney Springs. This makes so much sense. Honestly, I'm surprised that this wasn't a part of the original announcement. That's how much sense this makes. Like, this really feels like Disney's stage 1 and then Disney Springs is stage 2. And by the way, let's take a closer look at that map while we're considering Disney Springs. What's right in between Disney Springs and the Caribbean Beach Resort? Is that Typhoon Lagoon? Oh wait, yes it is. Why not include it? It makes so much sense. You have all these resorts right there, so much easier to get to and from Typhoon Lagoon. No more transferring at Disney Springs. It would solve so many problems. You just have one more stop at Typhoon Lagoon. To me, that is a huge solution and they should definitely consider it. Okay, so let's consider that this idea, which again is only my idea, no rumors about this, might be stage 2. You go from the Caribbean Beach Resort, which is kind of going to be the hub anyway, and you can go to Typhoon Lagoon and then go on to Disney Springs. To me, it just makes so much sense, and I think it might be coming in stage 2. So if that's stage 2, what could be stage 3? Now, looking at the map, one idea that comes to mind, and keep in mind, these are only my ideas. These are not even rumors. That is how far they are, just my ideas. Disney's Animal Kingdom and Animal Kingdom Lodge are very close together, and for a while, it's been kind of tough to get between the two. You get a bus, go to Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's not too hard, but being able to link them with some system would definitely add to the appeal of staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Why not a gondola? Now, if Disney is really serious about expanding the gondola system, and this would be kind of a longer trek, they could go from Animal Kingdom Lodge, Animal Kingdom, and then take it another step further and go to Coronado Springs Resort. Coronado Springs to Animal Kingdom Lodge makes so much sense, but I'm not done. I'm not finished. Look just south of Coronado Springs. That's Blizzard Beach. Why not connect another water park to 2 more resorts? It would make so much sense. You've got Typhoon Lagoon that's connected to Art of Animation, Pop Century, Riviera, Caribbean Beach, and several of the resorts at Epcot. What if you do the same thing with Blizzard Beach? But wait a second, I'm still not done. Look south of where Blizzard Beach is. You've got the All-Star Resorts, almost as if they were set up intentionally for a gondola system in the future. I mean, this is so interesting to think about. Could they be doing this in the future? I don't know for sure, but it's definitely an idea. When I put the pieces together in my mind, it makes so much sense. Just imagine it from a PR standpoint. Those who are staying at Coronado Springs or the All-Stars have even easier access to Blizzard Beach or Animal Kingdom, and those who are staying at the Epcot resorts or Pop Century Art of Animation have easier access to Disney Springs, Hollywood Studios, Epcot. There are so many factors that they can consider with this. It makes so much sense on every angle if they do it this way. Now, keep in mind, with all of these ideas on the table, the only route that has been confirmed by Disney that is coming for the gondola system goes from Epcot to Riviera Resort to the Caribbean Beach, and then you can go to Hollywood Studios or Pop Century and Art of Animation. Those are the only ones that are even confirmed. There's no other speculation or rumors about any other gondola systems. So everything else that I'm talking about in this video is my speculation and imagination. Now, with all of those thoughts about the gondola system, I do want to reiterate that I don't think that it's a catch-all system. I think that it's convenient, it's going to be really cool, it's going to give you some great photo opportunities, but I think that the buses and the monorails and the boats are really, really important to Walt Disney World and should not be replaced by just one other system, especially the monorails. Those are really important to me and the whole Disney community. Disney, those need to stay. Honestly, those need to stay. So what do you think? Will Disney be testing the Skyliner for a possible expansion in the future, or maybe there will never be a phase 2 or phase 3? Disney will probably say, you know what, just the one is fine. Or maybe you think they'll take the money for phase 2 and phase 3 and use it on a monorail expansion. I would love that even more. That would be amazing, but I seriously doubt the monorail will be expanding, even though I would love it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you have any other thoughts about different routes that this gondola system of the future might take, let me know in the comments below. Remember, we're just using our imaginations here. The only one that's confirmed is the one that Disney has announced. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day.